It was supposed to be the happiest week of my life. In just a month, Willow and I were set to get married. The rings were ready, custom made, designed together. She'd chosen every detail, the style, the engraving, even the font of our initials, WM. But as I stared at those letters, something inside me felt off, like the calm before a storm. Then I heard voices outside the jewelry store. Two women gossiping, their words sharp as glass. "Did you hear? Willow's first love, Makoto, just got divorced and came back to town." "I remember that guy," the other said. "She was a wreck when they broke up. If George hadn't shown up, she'd probably still be crying." "George?" The first woman laughed. "You mean that spoiled playboy from City A? The one who used to race bikes and live wild? Guess the bad boy really did settle down for her." Then came the dagger. "But now that Makoto's back, do you think the wedding's still on? If Willow cancels now, George will be the biggest joke in town." Their laughter faded, but their words didn't. They stayed, echoing. I looked again at those initials on the ring box, and suddenly it hit me. WM, Willow Makoto. Not Willow and me. I called her. She didn't answer, but I could hear her voice through the noise in the background, clear enough to break me. "He's got no ambition. He's not even worth one of Makoto's fingers." Someone tried to defend me, said I'd changed, said I'd grown. But Willow just laughed. "Changed? Please. He's been orbiting around me like a pathetic simp. I tamed him. Isn't that what people do with dogs?" I hung up, stared into the mirror. The man looking back wasn't me, not really. Just a version I'd created to please her, a polite, obedient shadow of who I used to be. And right then I decided, that version dies tonight. A week passed. She didn't come home once. I listed the house for sale. Everything in it was mine anyway. Every brick, every tile, every memory I wished I could burn. Then came her call. She wanted to talk. Of course she showed up late, and not alone. He was there. Makoto. Her past, standing beside her, holding her hand like I was the threat. He looked like me, maybe halfway. But it didn't matter. The air was thick enough to choke on. Finally, Willow spoke. "George, I'm not getting married." I looked at her, calm. "You're calling off the wedding?" She leaned against Makoto, voice soft, almost romantic. "Makoto's back. I don't want to settle anymore. No matter how much you resemble him, you'll never be him." She paused, waiting for me to beg. To break, but I just nodded. "Yeah," I said. That threw her off. Maybe she expected the old George, the one who'd chase her even while she kicked him down. Instead, she got silence. "My family will handle our side," she said coldly. "You deal with yours. The wedding's off." "Fine," I replied, standing up. As I reached the door, she called out, "George!" I turned. Her hand was trembling at her side. "Don't you have anything to say to me?" I wanted to say I envied her, that her first love came back while mine never will. But all I said was, "Congratulations on your upcoming wedding." Then I walked out. Behind me, someone whispered, "That's it?" That's George's reaction? Willow's voice snapped, "Shut up!" I didn't look back. I didn't need to. Because right then I knew, no matter how much Willow resembled her, she'd never be her. The real one would have never left me to fall alone. Later that night, I walked into a barbershop, sat down. And as the hair fell, so did the last piece of the man I pretended to be. When I looked up at the mirror and saw that sharp flash of golden hair, it felt like meeting myself again. The real me I'd buried years ago. On my wrist, fresh ink burned softly. Je ne recule jamais. French for I never retreat. And for the first time in a long time, I meant it. Then I walked into a place I hadn't stepped into for 3 years. The old garage. The smell of oil and steel hit me like nostalgia I didn't ask for. "David," I said, "bring my bike out." From the back, a shirtless mechanic appeared. Eyes wide, disbelief washing over his face. "George," his voice cracked. "It's really you?" I gave him a small nod. "Yeah, it's me." He just stood there, taking me in. The short hair, the leather jacket, the man who'd finally stopped pretending. "George, what are you doing here?" he asked. My eyes found the 2 motorcycles in the center of the shop, one white, one black. Still gleaming like time had never passed. "They're still here," I said. David smiled through tears. "Of course. I clean them every day. Either one's ready to go? Where do you want to ride? Should I call the guys?" I shook my head. "No, just bring it out. I want to ride alone." The moment I swung my leg over the seat, it all came back. The weight of the bike beneath me, the hum in my chest, that long-lost pulse of freedom. For 3 years, I'd stayed off the road like avoiding the truth could rewrite the past. But as I turned and glanced at the white Kawasaki beside me, a name came uninvited. Anna. David followed my gaze, his eyes glassy again. "I've been waiting for Sister Anna, too," he murmured. "Didn't have the heart to move her bike. Kept it next to yours. Thinking maybe one day they'd both hit the road again." Then softer. "It's been 3 years, George. If I waited long enough for you to come back, do you think she'll come back too?" I froze. 3 years. "That long," he chuckled weakly. "You know that song? The clock that runs backwards? They say if you listen 1,000 times, you'll see the one you miss. I've hit 1,000 already. Still no Anna." I turned my head away, forcing a smile. "It's just something people say to make themselves feel better," I said quietly. "The dead don't come back." What he didn't know was, I'd listened to that song 10,000 times. I rode until I reached the mountain peak, wind cutting sharp against my face. The city lights shimmered below like a broken constellation. I yelled into the night, voice shaking, "Anna!" "I did everything you told me to. I settled down, I built a life, so why didn't you come back?" I laughed through tears. "You said I'd see you in a wedding dress. Now I can't even see you at all." The tears blurred into the wind. "Damn," I muttered. "The wind's too strong. It's getting in my eyes." Up there, under a sea of stars, the world felt quiet. Too quiet. Moonlight brushed against the land like a memory trying to comfort me. Then, a sound. A faint rustle behind me. I turned fast. Nothing. Just the whisper of grass and night insects. By the time I rode back down, the air felt different, heavier. When I reached the shop, something was wrong. The white Kawasaki was gone. "David!" I shouted, jumping off my bike. "Where's the Kawasaki? Who took it?" Then, a horn. My heart dropped. Slowly, I turned around. Under the streetlight, leaning against the bike, stood Anna, dressed in black, fierce as ever, that wild spark in her eyes untouched by time. She tilted her head, a teasing smirk curling her lips. "So," she said, voice soft and bold all at once, "how strong's that wind?" And just like that, 3 years vanished. I was right back where it all began. I remembered the first time I met her. I was 14, bruised, angry, running from the noise of my parents' fights. I'd told them to just get divorced already. They hit me for saying it. Maybe I deserved it. Maybe I didn't. All I knew was I wanted to disappear. Then came a voice behind me, lazy, amused. "Hey, pretty boy. Crying out here all alone?" I wiped my face fast. "Don't talk nonsense. The wind's just strong," she smiled. "Try hard, badass." "Tough mouth, huh?" She sat beside me, resting her chin on her hand and held out a tissue. "Being alone feels heavy, doesn't it? You don't know me, I don't know you. So let me just be here, quiet." We were 14, strangers, but that afternoon she stayed with me the whole time. Later I learned her name, Anna. The girl everyone whispered about. The troublemaker. The bastard kid. The one no one wanted to understand. Maybe that's why we found each other, two lost souls floating in the same storm. She showed me her world, her friends, her secret hideout, her laughter that made pain sound small. She told me, "Don't try to be perfect, George. Some people out there will love you just as you are." Whenever I felt alone, she appeared, fearless, loyal, my shield against every cruel word. "Good and bad are just labels," she used to say. "If what you do doesn't hurt anyone, then no one gets to judge you." I believed her. And when people called her names, I stood up for her too. Held her when she cried. Told her, "Anna, you don't owe anyone an explanation. Just existing is enough." Back then, it felt like the two of us were lost at sea, and somehow we'd found the same piece of driftwood to keep us alive. Anna and I. Two wild hearts, holding on to each other in a world that never understood us. After high school, Anna and I finally crossed that invisible line. We fell in love. That summer night, a group of us rode our bikes up the mountain to celebrate growing up, the wind howling behind us, laughter echoing through the valley. And then quietly, away from the noise, I reached for her hand. We ran, just the two of us, breathless and free. She laughed as we tore through the night, hair flying, eyes glowing. "George," she said between breaths, "doesn't this feel like we're eloping?" Even now, I can still see that night. The moon so full it looked close enough to touch. Stars scattered like spilled diamonds, cicadas singing like they knew our secret. And her eyes, the kind that made you believe in forever. Under that vast sky we kissed. For a moment it really felt like forever. Then came the present. "Anna, you're finally back," I whispered. My voice shook. My whole body did. She smirked, crossing her arms. "Look at you," she said softly. "All weak and pathetic. I'm right here, aren't I?" I stepped toward her, but then reality cracked open. David rolled a motorcycle toward me. "George, what's wrong?" he asked. "Didn't Anna once say her bike and yours would never be alone? When I saw you ride off, I figured I'd better roll out Little White too." I froze, so that's all it was. Just my imagination. I turned away, pressing my fingers to my brow, trying to breathe. They say you shouldn't meet someone too dazzling when you're young, because everyone after them will look dull by comparison. Guess I was the fool who couldn't let go. 3 years and I was still chasing a ghost. Still waiting for a miracle that was never coming. When I got home, everyone was waiting. The moment my mother saw me, the dyed golden hair, the leather jacket, her face twisted with anger. "Look at yourself. What are you even supposed to be? No wonder Willow called off the wedding." I stood in the doorway, the house suddenly feeling foreign. I turned to leave, but my father's voice thundered from the living room. "Where the hell do you think you're going? Get back here! Call the Liu family and apologize right now. Tell them you acted rashly. The invitations are already out. You can't just cancel a wedding like that. And another thing, get that ridiculous color off your head." Who would trust their daughter to a man who looks like this? I walked closer, calm, maybe too calm. "Why should I apologize?" I asked. "She's the one who said she didn't want to settle. She's the one who ran back to her ex. She ended the engagement, not me. I even wished her well. So tell me, what exactly did I do wrong?" The room fell silent, just long enough for the slap to sting louder. "Idiot!" my father shouted, face red with fury. "She's a woman, you're a man. Don't stoop to her level. Use your damn head. Do you really think the Liu family would let their daughter marry a divorced nobody? You were supposed to handle this smartly, strategically. Even if she cheated, so what? Everyone in our circle does. As long as the kid's yours and you get the benefits, why do you care?" My face burned where his hand landed, but I still smiled. That quiet, dangerous kind of smile. "You two can keep playing your games," I said softly. "But I'm done." His chest rose and fell furious. He grabbed a glass and hurled it at me. "Useless. That filthy woman's been dead for 3 years and you're still crying over her? How did I end up with a worthless son like you?" The glass shattered. I didn't move fast enough. A sharp sting cut across my eyebrow. And just like that, memories flooded back. Anna's fall, the silence after, the darkness I drowned in. When I tried to end it all, the servants found me before it was too late. My parents called it ingratitude, said I was too privileged to be depressed. Maybe they were right, or maybe they never really understood me at all. I could never be like my father, cold, calculating, trading people for power, or like my mother, pretending to feel something she didn't. I believed in boundaries, in doing right even when no one watched. But in this house, integrity was a joke. Maybe that's why I never understood them. They each had their own families outside this one. So how could I ever believe in family at all? When the company finally hit trouble, they came for me, told me I had to marry into the Liu clan. I refused. Then my father tossed a photo onto the table. It was her. For a second, I thought Anna had come back, but no. It was Willow Liu, the same face, the same eyes, just not her. "Stop acting like a martyr," they said. "If you really want to die, go ahead." I stared at that picture, and for the first time in years, I felt something like hope. I agreed to meet her, but only if my father started giving me a share of the company. I thought maybe if I changed, if I became the kind of man he wanted, I could stay close to that face even if it wasn't hers. So I cut my hair, traded leather for suits, and tried to become respectable. Willow made the first move, smiled first, texted first. Before I knew it, we were together. But later I realized she was using me too, just like I was using her. 2 broken people trying to replace ghosts. So when she told me to quit smoking, I did. When she asked me to cook, I learned. I kept changing, hoping one day she'd see me. But the truth was, she never would. Because the man she wanted was never me. When she asked me to buy a villa, I bought one. When she told me to stop riding motorcycles, I parked my bike for good. To everyone else, it looked like I'd changed, the rebel who finally learned to love. They said I'd turned over a new leaf for her. Maybe I had. I loved her so much it almost destroyed me. Even Willow believed it. And honestly, what could I say? I was willing to do anything for that face, the face that reminded me of Anna. So even when Willow crossed lines she shouldn't have, I stayed quiet. Because every time I looked at her, it felt like Anna had never left. Like she was still here, laughing beside me under that summer sky. But the illusion shattered the day her true love came back. I saw it in her eyes, that soft, distant light that was never really mine. That's when I finally woke up. No matter how much she looked like Anna, Willow would never be her. That night, just before I went to sleep, Willow called. Her voice was cold, sharp. Your parents called mine. I remembered posting a photo earlier, my first motorcycle shot in 3 years. A friend commented, George took me for a ride. And Willow, of course, couldn't resist replying, what kind of woman would want a man wasting his life like this? So I called her. Don't worry, I said quietly. This marriage isn't something you have to suffer through anymore. But deep down, a small ache still lingered. The kind you feel when you know you'll never see that gentle look in someone's eyes again. She was silent at first. Then, in a voice dripping with contempt, she said, George, I'm not anyone's accessory. If you want to marry me, you'll have to accept what's between Makoto and me. Don't expect me to belong to only you. Understand? She paused, then added flatly, Anyway, this marriage is just to please our parents. You love me, right? Then let's just do it. I turned the bracelet on my wrist, the one with our initials, and smiled. Willow, I said softly, if you really plan to marry me, does Makoto know? She didn't answer, only silence and uneven breathing. So I told her the truth, the kind that hurts but sets you free. I know you've been using me as a stand-in for him. Funny thing is, I've been doing the same. Do you know when you look most like Anna? It's when you're quiet, when you just look at me. I laughed faintly. Even if you're really seeing someone else through me, I don't care. Just looking at that face makes me happy enough. My tone softened. You made me do things I never wanted to, but I can't hate you for it. Still, I'm not him, and you're not her. We've both been living inside ghosts, so let's stop pretending. Let's call it off. She hung up before I could finish. That night I swallowed 2 sleeping pills, estazolam, and slipped into the only place I could still see Anna, my dreams. There we were young again, wild and weightless, after our exams, when nothing could keep us apart anymore. Holding hands in the summer heat, watching movies, laughing over nothing. Even silence tasted sweet with her. We'd race our bikes across open roads, wind roaring in our ears, our hearts louder still. David once joked that we looked like we'd stepped out of a romantic drama. And maybe he was right. Anna was radiant, the kind of girl the whole campus adored. To keep me from getting jealous, she once went straight to the university radio and announced our relationship to everyone. That was Anna, fearless and full of love. People said we'd never last, but we did. 4 years, 4 beautiful, reckless years. When my parents finally found out about her, they were furious. They ordered me home, demanded I break it off. I refused. My father grabbed a stick, ready to hit me. I caught it mid-swing and snapped, Don't push me to hit back. You both have your own families. You've never cared about me. So what right do you have to tell me how to live? My voice trembled with rage. You don't love me. You just want an heir. I'm sick of your hypocrisy. My father's eyes burned. I gave you life, he said. You'll never escape being a Wang. My mother screamed that Anna had poisoned me, taught me to defy them. And then Anna appeared, standing tall, unflinching. All these years, she said, you've never shown him love. Why should he obey you? He's the man I love most. You may not care for him, but I do. My mother raised her hand to strike her. I stepped forward, pushed her away, and grabbed Anna's hand. That night we walked out together, silent, shaking, but united. We sat under the stars until dawn and made a promise. After graduation, we'd get married. But just before that day came, everything started to fall apart. At first, I didn't think much of it. A few strange things here and there, flower pots falling when I walked past, the sense that someone was following me. Just small, eerie coincidences, until Anna started to change. She'd stare off into space, her mind somewhere I couldn't reach. One afternoon, out of nowhere, she asked me, "If one day I'm gone, what will you do?" I laughed it off. "Die with you," I said, and I meant it. Before her, I'd had nothing. No real family, no friends, just chaos. She was the first person who made me feel like life was worth something. I couldn't imagine a world that didn't have Anna in it. She shook her head gently. "Don't say that. If I'm gone, you have to live. Find someone who loves you, get married, have kids, promise me." I pulled her close, smiling against her hair. "Stop talking nonsense," I told her. "The only thing I'll ever do in this life is see you in a wedding dress. I won't marry anyone else." She pouted, half playful, half serious. "Don't joke, George, I mean it." I chuckled. "Why are you so serious? Don't tell me you found someone else behind my back." Her voice trembled, but she forced a laugh. "What are you talking about? Of course not." I teased her. Said I'd just marry someone else and make her regret it. She smacked my forehead, rolling her eyes. "If you ever get married and the bride isn't me," she said, "I'll show up in a wedding dress and crash your wedding myself." I didn't know that would be the last promise she ever made. When I proposed, she said if I could beat her in a race, she'd marry me. I agreed without hesitation. I wanted to win that trophy and her hand in the same breath. But that race, it was the one she never came back from. In my dreams, I still see it. The blinding summer sun, the roar of engines, the crowd cheering. And then the sudden silence, the news flashing on the big screen. She fell off the cliff. Everything after that was just smoke and noise and emptiness. I woke up gasping, drenched in sweat. My phone was ringing. It was David. "There's a race up on the mountain road," he said. "You coming?" "Yeah," I replied. Maybe it was time. Maybe I was finally ready to move forward. He told me there'd be a big race soon, with top riders, even a mysterious woman from abroad who never took off her helmet. He was excited. I just smiled, lighting a cigarette. "You get her autograph?" I said. "I'll win the trophy for you." He laughed, but I saw his eyes glisten. "George, seeing you like this, I'm really happy for you." I patted his shoulder, then turned and froze. Willow was standing there. Our eyes met. For a second, I saw a flicker of something. Regret, maybe. But I stayed silent, crushed my cigarette, and started to walk away. "George," she called. "Can we talk?" She stood backlit by the sun, half her face hidden in shadow. Such a familiar face. What a pity. It wasn't Anna's. "Don't look at me like that," she snapped suddenly. Her voice cracked. "How dare you lie to me?" I frowned. "Willow, shouldn't you be happy?" "Happy?" She shot back, blocking my path. "You made me your substitute and then I'm supposed to be happy. Do you even have a conscience?" Her eyes were full of anger and pain. "No wonder you always stared at me like that," she said, "like you'd found something you lost. I thought you loved me, George. I was even willing to go through with that stupid arranged marriage. I must have been such a fool." I waited for her to finish. "Weren't you using me too?" I asked quietly. "Your true love's back. You don't need me anymore. The game's over." She stepped closer, trembling. "Even if I was a substitute, weren't you trying to move on because of me? Would you have done that for her?" I thought for a moment, then said honestly, "No." Her eyes widened. I remembered Anna's words echoing in my head. "If the bride isn't me, I'll show up in a wedding dress and crash your ceremony." That was the last piece of her I ever held on to. "So you never liked me at all," Willow whispered. I met her gaze, calm and steady. You don't like me, I don't like you. Isn't that fair? She opened her mouth, almost said something, then bit her lip hard. Of course it's not fair, she hissed. You're nothing but a dog at my side. 6 days left until the wedding. You'll regret this. I won't, I said simply. A few days later, I packed my bags and boarded a flight to Shanghai. There were only 4 days left until the wedding, but my parents still refused to cancel it, clinging to the hope that Willow and I would somehow make peace. As the plane took off, I looked down at the red string around my wrist, the one I'd worn for 7 years. I touched it gently and thought, after the race, I'll finally cut this tie. Not just with her, but with all of them. That's when it truly hit me. Some parents just don't love their children. By then, I'd already made peace with it all. David picked me up at the airport, grinning like he always did. You know that female racer everyone's talking about? He said. She's staying at the same hotel. Maybe we'll bump into her. I laughed. You her fanboy now? He rubbed the back of his neck. Not exactly. It's just, some of her moves remind me of Anna. My heart skipped. Just one name, and the silence that followed said everything. David caught it too, quickly changed the subject. A lot of the old crew's joining this race. They'll be thrilled to see you, man. When we got to the track, the memories hit before the smell of asphalt did. Familiar faces. Familiar laughter. Most of them had been Anna's people, kids who'd been lost once, pulled out of the dark by her light. Then David nudged me. There, the white bike. She was standing at a distance, helmet gleaming under the sun. I couldn't see her face, but when she turned her head, something inside me froze. My pulse started hammering. My hands trembled on instinct. For a moment, I forgot how to breathe. George! David shouted over the noise. We're counting on you out there! The countdown began. My gaze locked on that white motorcycle, that impossible déjà vu. Suddenly I was back there 3 years ago, on the track where everything changed. Back when Anna had smiled at me and said, if you can beat me, I'll marry you. I'd promised I'd win, for her, for us. Engines roared. Tires screamed. And when the timer hit 0, I launched forward. The wind tore through me, howling like 1,000 galloping horses. I pushed the throttle harder, chasing that ghost of white ahead of me. The air was thick with fuel and fire. My hands went numb. My world shrank to a single red taillight flickering in front of me, heartbeat matching its rhythm. She leaned into the curve. I followed. The sound of scraping tires cut through my nerves like glass. Time slowed. Every second stretched thin, until I couldn't tell if I was chasing victory or a ghost. Then the flag waved. I crossed the line. Tires screeched, smoke rising. My chest burned, lungs aching, but I'd done it. I'd won. The name on the screen was foreign, not hers. Not Anna. Still, something inside me refused to let go. I followed her backstage, stopped her before she could leave. Can you take off your helmet? I asked. My voice barely sounded like mine. She didn't move, just stood there silent. Her shape, her stillness, everything about her felt like a memory replaying itself. Then she spoke softly. I'm sorry. And just like that, the warmth drained from the world. Of course it wasn't her. How could it be? I lowered my head, the air thick in my chest. Anna's words echoed again. If I'm gone one day, you have to live well. But I hadn't, not really. I'd just been waiting, clinging to a ghost that never answered. I turned to leave, and that's when I felt it. A hand on my arm. I looked down. Her fingers. Her wrist, and then the red string. Faded, frayed, and identical to mine. My mind went blank. Slowly, she lifted her hand, unlatched her helmet, and time stopped. There she was. The face I'd seen in every dream for the last 3 years. Anna, my Anna. She smiled. That same bright, mischievous smile that once lit up the night sky. Try hard, badass, she teased softly. What, pretending you don't know me now? I couldn't hold it in. I pulled her into my arms, tears burning down my cheeks. Damn it, I choked out. Why did you take so long to come back? She laughed through her tears. I heard the try-hard badass was getting married. And the bride wasn't me. She tilted her head, eyes glimmering. So of course I came back. To crash the wedding. Her voice trembled as she kissed me, soft, shaking, full of all the years we'd lost. I held her like a drowning man clinging to air, afraid that if I let go, she'd vanish again. Maybe I was dreaming. Maybe this wasn't real. But I didn't care, because even if this was a dream, I didn't want to wake up. She bit her lip, whispering, "I'm sorry. I promised that if you beat me, I'd marry you. But I broke that promise for 3 years." Her eyes softened. "Do you blame me?" I smiled faintly and shook my head. "No," I said. "Never. How could I ever blame her?" She came back, and that was enough. I didn't need answers or explanations. I just needed her. That day, during the award ceremony, I handed Anna the trophy. For a moment, the woman standing in front of me overlapped perfectly with the girl I'd fallen in love with years ago. It felt like a proposal 3 years too late, but somehow right on time. That night, all the longing, all the years of emptiness between us, we turned it into warmth, into motion, into something real again. Over and over, through sweat and tears, through laughter that broke into sobs, neither of us wanted to stop. Not because of desire, but because we were afraid that if we did, the moment might disappear. When we finally collapsed together, Anna rested her head against my chest, her fingers tracing the scars on my hands like she was memorizing them again. Then she began to speak, softly like she was confessing to the night itself. And what she told me didn't sound real at first. It sounded like something out of a twisted family drama. Turns out, she and Willow weren't just lookalikes. They were sisters, bound by blood and separated by betrayal. Anna's mother was once a rich heiress who fell for a man she wasn't supposed to. But Willow's mother, driven by envy, drugged that same man, got pregnant, and stole the life that was meant to be Anna's mother's. When she found out, Anna's mother left, heartbroken, only to discover she was carrying Anna. But Willow's mother wasn't done. When she learned of their existence, she used her power to bury them, to erase them quietly. The bitterness festered in Anna's mother until it became something darker, revenge. And in her obsession, she began using Anna as a pawn, forcing her to work overseas to take down the Liu family. Anna had refused. Because of me. That's when her mother turned her hatred toward me. Suddenly, all those strange moments I'd felt watched, followed. They made sense. Anna begged her mother to stop, terrified she'd hurt me. But her mother was beyond reason. She gave Anna a cruel choice, disappear or watch me fall. So they faked her death, smuggled her out of the country. And for 3 years, she lived like a ghost, sleeping barely 2 hours a night, working nonstop just to earn the freedom to come back to me. Her voice trembled as she said, "You have no idea how much I missed you." Every word cut through me. She told me how she clawed her way out of her mother's control, how she forced herself to grow strong, just so she could see me again without putting me in danger. She said it like she was telling someone else's story, but I could feel every ache behind her words. When she finally fell silent, I just held her, as tightly as I could, because I wanted to fuse her into me, to make up for all the time we'd lost. Then her voice cracked. "Every time I missed you so much I thought I'd go insane. I'd stab my wrist with a pen just to remind myself I was still here. I'd whisper, 'Hurry, George is waiting. He said he'd win for me. He's stubborn like that. He'll wait forever.'" Her tears kept falling, stopping, then falling again, as if she was emptying years of pain she'd buried. I brushed her hair back, kissed her forehead gently, and whispered, "So, Anna, will you marry me?" 3 days before the wedding, we went to get our marriage certificate. When the official seal stamped down over our photo, Anna burst into tears, smiling even as she sobbed. "I'm sorry," she said. "I'm so sorry I came too late." I wiped her cheeks, cupping her face. "It doesn't matter when you came. The ending is still you." But just as everything felt peaceful again, a photo started spreading online. Me and Anna, wrapped around each other on our bikes after the race. The shot oozed heat and chemistry, taken by David and the crew. No one knew how it got out, but it did. Fast. Our group chats exploded. "Wait, isn't that George? No way, he looks different. Didn't Willow say George was begging her to come back? Ha, guess she was the placeholder all along." People talked. Rumors spun, but I didn't care. That afternoon, while Anna was trying on her wedding dress, my phone buzzed. It was Willow. Her voice was icy. "George, who is she?" Before I could answer, Anna smiled, took the phone, and said sweetly, "Miss Ex-Girlfriend, let me introduce myself. I'm his legal wife." Days later, we rode up the mountain with all our friends. The same crew from before, laughing, crying, shouting into the wind. Anna was behind me, her hands gripping mine as tightly as they did back when we were 18. I looked back at her and said, "Anna, how about running away with me?" She laughed through her tears, grabbed my hand, and ran. We raced through the summer night like we were chasing time itself. When she tiptoed and kissed the corner of my lips, I pulled her in deeper, holding her close. That night, everything came full circle. The recklessness, the heartbreak, the youth we thought we'd lost. Maybe it wasn't redemption. Maybe it was just love. Raw, imperfect, unbreakable. Later at David's shop, everyone fell asleep where they stood. Bottles on the floor, helmets tossed aside. The smell of oil and laughter still in the air. And for the first time in years, I looked around and realized this right here was peace. I stepped outside, planning to breathe in the cool mountain air, to let the quiet sink in before the chaos of tomorrow. But then I saw her, Willow. She was sitting under a telephone pole, shoulders slumped, dark circles under her eyes. She looked wrecked. I didn't know how long she'd been there or what she wanted, and honestly, I didn't want to find out. I turned to leave, but she got up fast and stepped in front of me. "George," she said, her voice trembling, "let's get married." From her coat, she pulled out a household registration book, like she'd been holding on to this one last thread of a dream. I didn't know what kind of game she was trying to play. I just lifted my hand, showing her the wedding ring glinting in the moonlight. "Willow, I'm already married." She froze. Her eyes widened, disbelief flickering into rage. "You married that little rebel girl?" I nodded. She laughed, and sharp, bitter. "You've known her for what, a few days?" "Why can she, but I—" Her voice cracked mid-sentence. She bit her lip, looked at me quietly, then said softly, "I haven't told my family to cancel the wedding yet. 2 days from now, let's just go through with it as planned, okay?" I shook my head. "The wedding won't be canceled," I said calmly. "I'll just change the bride." She blinked, stunned, before forcing out a laugh that sounded more like pain. "If your wife finds out she's just a stand-in, she'll leave you," she spat. "George, don't be stupid." "I'm your best choice." She didn't know, she never did, that Anna was the one I'd loved all along. And right then, as if the universe itself wanted to make it clear, a voice came from behind me. "Don't worry," Anna said, walking up. Her tone was calm, almost cold. "We won't be getting divorced." She slipped her arm through mine, tiptoed up, and pressed a kiss to my lips. Then she looked at Willow and whispered, "Because those who betray go to hell." Willow just stared, her face a mix of anger, confusion, and heartbreak. And then she turned away, walking into the dark, her silhouette shrinking until it disappeared. 2 days before the wedding, Anna and I were sitting at the dining table, editing our guest list, inviting only the people who mattered. We were both exhausted but happy. That's when my phone rang. Makoto. His voice on the other end was weak. "Can you see Willow?" "She's in the hospital." "Drinking herself sick. She's got a stomach ulcer." I frowned. "What does that have to do with me?" He sighed. "I thought she was waiting for me. I thought when I came back she'd choose me again. But even when she stayed with me, she kept looking at her phone. Waiting for your message. You never called. So she went to see you to make you jealous. But when you walked away, something in her broke." He hesitated, then said, "In this whole game of pretending, I think she really fell for you. When she found out you'd moved on, she started murmuring your name in her sleep." I cut him off. "I'm not interested in hearing this. I never had feelings for her. Not once. Because it was true. Willow didn't love me. She just couldn't accept losing control." The day before the wedding, the business world erupted. Wong Corporation and Zhu Corporation announced a massive joint takeover of the Liu Group. Only then did people realize Anna Xu wasn't just some racer from abroad. She was the illegitimate daughter the Liu family had tried to erase. But instead of seeking inheritance, she and her mother had returned for justice, for revenge. At the same time, the internet was buzzing. People were piecing it all together. The mysterious female racer, the resemblance between Anna and Willow, and my sudden announcement that I was marrying my first love. That's when everyone finally understood. The woman who came back from the dead was real. My father was thrilled, bragging to anyone who'd listen. "You've done well, son," he said proudly. "You've outplayed the master himself." But that very day, I brought Anna home and told them I was cutting all ties. I'd never been able to do it before. Part of me always held back, still craving their approval, their warmth. But standing there with Anna's hand in mine, I realized they never reached for me when I was drowning. And if I couldn't have that kind of love, then I didn't need it. Not everyone is born into a family that knows how to love. Sometimes, learning to accept that emptiness, that silence, is how you finally grow up. When I walked away, I caught a glimpse of them standing there, my parents, frozen in place, fear flickering across their faces for the first time. But it was too late. That chapter was over. Then came the wedding day. Anna wore the gown I had bought years ago. Somehow it fit her perfectly, like it had been waiting all this time. She looked up at me and asked, "How did you know I'd come back?" I smiled, pinching her cheek gently. "I didn't," I said. "I just left space for the possibility. I wore the suit she'd chosen for me long ago, but this time I wasn't the reckless kid she once knew. I was calm, steady, whole." I wrapped my arms around her from behind. Our reflections stared back from the mirror, and my eyes burned red with emotion. This day, I'd waited too long for it. Anna turned, kissed the corner of my lips, and whispered teasingly, "Try hard, badass. How strong is the wind this time? Why are your eyes teary again?" That line, it hit me right where all the pain used to live. I'd once imagined her saying those exact words at the foot of the mountain. Back then, it had been nothing but a fantasy. Now it was real. I kissed her eyelids softly and smiled. "I was just thinking," I said. "There's someone who misses me. Someone who'll wait through every spring rain, every summer wind, every autumn leaf, and every winter snow with me." I looked into her eyes and added, "Even when I was alone, I kept moving forward, because I believed that at the end of every cliff the wind still blow and the one I love will be there, waiting to say, 'Hello, we meet again.'"